morning. A very good morning to you all. It is Monday. Yes, Monday, May the 26th. The year is 2025. And I am Teacher Mari. I'm so happy, just so happy to be here with you.
Good morning and good morning to you. I am Professor Paolo. We are here today. Yes, we will look carefully. We will see how our students are learning.
Yes, indeed. Today we have with us, well, in our minds, of course, our dear students from the English Conversations course, group T247, that is Tiago and Mario, and young Douglas.
They're all working hard, very hard. They're at the A2 level. You see, this is a standard. It is called CEFRL. That's the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages.
And we are from AcademiaBSB, a very special school. It is online for all our friends in Brazil who want to learn English. And did you know it is the first school, the very first, to use, clever machines, artificial intelligence, right in the classroom. Imagine that.
Yes, it is certainly a new world. Today, we will look quite closely at the notes from their last class. We call them the class notes.
That is right. We want to see what they learned, what they understood. And my colleague and I, we will give our thoughts, our older thoughts, our old school way of seeing things, perhaps.
Old school. Yes, very old school. Now, think about this with us, if you will. Imagine a small shop. A family works there. They're having some trouble. Our students, you see, are learning how to help this shop, how to make it successful again. This is a bit like our lesson today, helping something that is struggling.
Exactly. We will look at new words, vocabulary, and how to say them correctly, pronunciation, how to use them in sentences too, use of language, and some rules of grammar, oh yes, and even how they read and watch things in English. It is all about helping that little shop, or any business having problems, helping it to get better by using English.
So let's begin with the words, the building blocks of our language, vocabulary.
Oh yes, new words in their last class. Tiago, Mario, and Douglas, they learned some very useful words. I think so. The first word is rehab, R-E-H-A-B. Now, rehab, it's short for rehabilitation. That is a long word, isn't it? It simply means help to get better. If someone is hurt, for instance, they might go to rehab to learn to walk again, perhaps.
After rehab, we have two words. They sound a little like maybe purpose, P-O-R-P-O-S-E, and proposal, P-R-O-P-O-S-A-L. Now, purpose means the reason why you do something. What is your purpose? Proposal is quite different. It is an offer or maybe a suggestion. Someone might make a proposal for a new idea at work, you see.
Yes, very different indeed. Then we have ambiguity. A-M-B-I-G-U-I-T-Y. Oh, that sounds complicated. Ambiguity is when something is not clear, not at all clear. If a sign maybe has ambiguity, you might not know what it means. You might be confused.
Next is content, C-O-N-T-E-N-T. Content is what is inside something, what it holds. If you watch a video, the pictures and the sounds, that is the content. And speaking of videos, V-I-D-E-O-S, that is our next word. Videos are, pictures that move. You watch them often on a screen nowadays.
Now, here are two more words. They also sound a little alike. Be careful. Noon, N-O-O-N, and moon, M-O-O-N. Noon is the middle of the day. 12 o'clock, high noon. But the moon is in the sky. At night, it is big and round and beautiful, very different from noon.
Indeed. After noon and moon, we have mission, M-I-S-S-I-O-N. A mission is a very important job, or perhaps a task, something you feel you must do.
And then some action words, verbs. To annoy, T-O-A-N-N-O-Y. To annoy means to bother someone, to make them a little bit angry or upset. And to teach, T-O-T-E-A-C-H. Well, to teach is what we do. It means to help someone learn, to share knowledge.
We also have the phrase business offer, B-U-S-I-N-E-S-S-O-F-F-E-R. This is when you suggest something for work, or perhaps for a deal. Someone might make a business offer to help that little shop we mentioned earlier.
Another useful action word, to avoid, T-O-A-V-O-I-D. To avoid means to stay away from something, or someone. If someone is nosy, N-O-S-E-Y, nosy. It means they want to know private things that are not their business, really. You might try to avoid a nosy neighbor, perhaps.
After nosy, we have miniature city, M-I-N-I-A-T-U-R-E-C-I-T-Y. This makes you think of something small, doesn't it? A miniature city is a very small town, or sometimes it's just a model, a tiny version of a city.
And then downtown, D-O-W-N-T-O-W-N. Downtown is the center of a city, usually the main business area. Many shops are there, many businesses too. If our little shop was downtown, maybe more people would come. That's a thought.
Next, we have work supply, W-O-R-K-S-U-P-P-L-Y. These are the things you need for a job. For your work, like pens and paper, or maybe tools if you're a builder, your work supply. And speaking of clothes, we have shorts, S-H-O-R-T-S. These are short pants for warm weather, and simply pants, P-A-N-T-S, long clothes for your legs, and then a skirt, S-K-I-R-T, a piece of clothing usually worn by a woman or a girl.
Almost done with this list now. To prepare. T-O-P-R-E-P-A-R-E. It means to get ready, to make something ready. And to be prepared. T-O-B-E-P-R-E-P-A-R-A-D means you are already ready. You have done the preparation. For example, I prepare my lessons before the class so that I am prepared when our students arrive for their lesson.
Very good. Very clear. Now, let's talk about some small differences, nuances between certain action words our students learn about song and music.
Yes, a song. S-O-N-G is something you can sing. It usually has words. And a tune, a melody, but music, M-U-S-I-C, is more general, broader. It is sounds, arranged in a way that is nice to hear. You can have music. With no singing at all, just instruments playing.
Then, they looked at the word do, D-O. When you do something, you perform an action, you execute it. For example, you do the dishes after eating. You wash the plates and forks and so on. You do the laundering, which means washing the clothes, and you do the house chores, the general work around your home to keep it clean and tidy.
And then make, M-A-K-E. This is different. This often means to create something. To produce something, you make a cake. You mix things, flour, sugar, eggs, and you bake it. You create a cake. You can make feijoada, our wonderful, delicious Brazilian bean stew. You create it. And you might make lasagna, that nice Italian dish with pasta and sauce. So do is more for actions, tasks you perform, and make is often for creating things, building things.
Exactly. Precisely. Now, before we continue, let us pause for just a moment, a short break, imaginary short musical interlude.
Welcome back, everyone. We hope you had a nice little pause. We were just talking about new words, vocabulary, that Tiago, Mario, and Douglas learned in the recent class. We talked about rehab, remember, and the difference between purpose and proposal, and how noon at 12 p.m. is very different from the moon at night.
Yes. Now we will look back at words from their class before this one. Their past class, they had some exercises, to help them remember. Practice makes perfect. The first one was called choose the correct option.
Ah, yes. I remember this one. The first sentence was, I always wear a C-A-P-H-A-T when I go hiking. And the right answer is C-A-P, C-A-P. A cap is usually a soft covering for your head. It often has a stiff part that sticks out in front. To shade your eyes. A hat is more general. It can be many different shapes, and sometimes more formal, like a top hat. But for hiking, a cap is common.
The second sentence, my ancestors' employees came from Italy many years ago. The correct word here is ancestors. A-N-C-E-S-T-O-R-S. Your ancestors are your family members from a long, long time ago, like your great-grandparents and their parents before them. Your employees are the people who work for you. A very different meaning. Number 3, this burger is very fat grease. It's not healthy, but it's delicious. The answer here is fat, F-A-T. Fat is a substance found in food and in our bodies. Too much is generally not healthy. Grease is similar, often meaning the oily liquid fat that comes out of food when you cook it. But here, fat fits better to describe the burger itself.
Sentence 4, I need to give away, donate some old clothes to charity. Donate. D-O-N-A-T-E is the correct word here. To donate something means to give it freely, especially to help others or an organization like a charity. Give away is more general. You can give away things to anyone, perhaps just because you don't need them anymore. Donating implies a good cause.
And the last one for this part. My dog, doggy, loves sleeping in the backyard. The correct answer is dog. D-O-G. Doggy is a cute, informal way to say dog, like talking to a child. But dog is the standard word and works perfectly well here. The backyard is the area, usually grass or garden, behind your house.
Next, they had an activity called fill in the blanks. They had to use the verb to know, K-N-O-W, the verb to meet, M-E-E-T. These can be confusing. The first sentence, do you know Leonardo DiCaprio? Know here means, are you familiar with him? Do you know who he is? Have you heard of him?
Sentence 2. I know who the mayor is, but I haven't met him personally.
Ah, good example. So, you know who the mayor is. You have information about him. You recognize his name or face. But you meet him when you are introduced, when you're in the same place. And maybe shake hands and talk to him.
And the third one follows the same logic. I haven't met your sister yet, but I've heard a lot about her. Again, met means being introduced, having a face-to-face encounter. Then there was task 4, travel talk. A fun topic. They used to know in the sense of have visited or be familiar with the place. Or sometimes to have been, number 1. I have been to France. I visited Paris last year. Have been to means you traveled there and came back. You have the experience of visiting.
Sentence 2, I don't know Japan. I've never traveled there. In this context, no means you are not familiar with Japan as a place because you have not visited it. You haven't experienced it.
And number 3, do you know Europe? Have you ever been to Italy? So, know here asks about familiarity with the continent. Are you generally familiar with Europe? And been to asks specifically about travel experience. Have you traveled to Italy?
After this travel talk, they had to complete the dialogue, a conversation. Maria was talking to a neighbor about pets.
Maria said, "Hi, I love your little puppy. How old is he?" "Very friendly," the neighbor answered. "Oh, he's still a puppy, only 4 months old." "Yes, a baby dog is a puppy. P-U-P-P-Y."
Maria then said, I have 2 cats. One is still a kitten. Just like a baby dog is a puppy, a baby cat is a kitten. K-I-T-T-E-N.
The neighbor asked, "Do you have a big house?" A simple question. And Maria answered, "Yes, we live on a small farm with a big house and a garden." A farm. F-A-R-M is land used for growing food or keeping animals like cows or chickens, and a house, H-O-U-S-E, is where people live.
The neighbor continued, sounding impressed. That sounds amazing. Do you have any chickens? And Maria said, yes, 2 hens and 1 rooster. My kids love collecting eggs. A female chicken is a hen, H-E-N, and a male chicken, often louder, is a rooster, R-O-O-S-T-E-R.
Finally, in this vocabulary review section, they had to find the mistakes and correct them. Very important practice. The first sentence was incorrect. It said, he has 1 child. Children is plural, more than 1. For just 1, the singular is child, C-H-I-L-D.
Number 2, the incorrect sentence was, my employees is very good. The corrected sentence is, my employees are very good. Employees means more than 1 worker. It's plural. So we must use the plural verb are, not the singular is.
Sentence 3, this was wrong too. I saw 2 music yesterday. The correction is, I heard 2 songs yesterday. Generally, we don't see music, we hear it. And music is usually uncountable like that. We count songs, S-O-N-G-S. A specific piece of music, often with words.
And the last one to correct. The owner of the ranch have many doggies. The correct sentence is, the owner of the ranch has many dogs. The owner is 1 person, singular. So the verb must be singular, has, not have. And as we said before, doggies is very informal. Dogs is the standard plural.
Good. That covers the vocabulary review. Now, let's talk about how to say these words. Pronunciation.
Yeah.
So important.
Saying words correctly is crucial for communication, for being understood. In their past class, as we recall, the students worked on the word human, H-U-M-A-N.
Yes, human. You have to make that 8 sound at the beginning. Who? And the stress is on the first part. Human. It sounds a bit like human, but with an H. Human.
And in their current class, the class we are focusing on today, they had new words to practice saying. The first was cardiologist, C-A-R-D-I-O-L-O-G-I-S-T. A long one. For example, my uncle's a cardiologist. He helps people with their hearts. Cardiologist.
Next was woke, W-O-K-E. The past of wake, for example. I woke up early this morning. It's still dark when I woke.
Woke. Actually, A-C-T-U-A-L-L-Y. This could be tricky. For instance, I thought it would rain, but actually, it was sunny. Actually.
After that.
Yeah.
Something. S-O-M-E-T-H-I-N-G. An example. I wanted to tell you something important. Something.
And finally, for this pronunciation list.
Promise.
P-R-O-M-I-S-E.
Yeah.
Example. I promise I will call you later. Promise.
They also practice some specific sounds. The R sound, made in the back of the mouth. R. And the H sound, a breathy sound. Listen carefully now to the difference in these pairs. Rank, hoof. Rent, hook. Road, heat. Root, herd. Rest, hate.
It is very important to hear the difference and to practice making the difference. Because you see, these sounds can change what a word means entirely. Rank is not hank. Road is not hoed.
Yes, exactly. Now, let's move on to how to use words and phrases correctly in sentences. This is the use of language part of their notes.
First, they learned that the phrase, in fact, I-N-F-A-C-T, means the same as the word actually, A-E-C-D-U-A-L-L-Y. They used to emphasize something that is true, often something surprising. For example, you can say, in fact, it is sunny today.
Or
you can say, actually, the sun is very bright. They mean essentially the same thing.
Then they learned about the structure, either or, E-I-T-H-E-R-O-R. This shows there are 2 choices, only 2 possibilities being offered or considered. For example, I will eat either an apple or a banana, meaning one of those 2, but not both and not something else.
They also learned the difference between the verb attend, A-T-T-E-N-D, and the noun intent, I-N-T-E-N-T. To attend means to go to an event or place. To be present, like, I will attend the class. Intent or intention is what you plan to do, your aim or purpose. My intent is to learn.
Another important difference they looked at, confusion, C-O-N-F-U-S-I-O-N, and confusing, C-O-N-F-U-S-I-N-G. Confusion is the state of not understanding, the feeling you have when something is unclear. For example, this question causes confusion. It makes people feel confused. Confusing is the adjective. It describes something that causes confusion. Yes, it is confusing. The question itself is confusing.
Finally, in this section, they learn the term criminal record, C-R-I-M-I-N-A-L-R-E-C-O-R-D. This is an official list kept by the police or government of the crimes a person has been found guilty of committing in the past. For example, the thief had a criminal record, which might explain why the police suspected him.
Now, let's do a little role play, a short conversation to show how to use these. I'll start. In fact, it is a very nice day today.
Yes, actually. The sun feels quite warm on my face.
Okay. For lunch, I will drink either water or juice.
Both are good choices for hydration.
I plan to attend the meeting at 3 o'clock this afternoon.
My intent is to listen carefully to everyone's ideas.
This grammar rule. This rule sometimes causes confusion for students.
Yes, it can be very confusing for new learners, I agree.
And about that story, the police discovered he had a criminal record.
Oh dear, that is certainly not good news for him.
Good. I think that shows how they work.
Now, let us talk about some fun ways to say things. Common phrases, idiomatic expressions.
Oh, I do like these very much. Idioms. These are special ways people say things in English. The words together have a special meaning, often different from the individual words. The first one is, it's none of your business. In Portuguese, we might say something like, não es a sua conta. It means something is private, personal information. You say this politely, or sometimes not so politely, when someone asks questions that are too personal.
Next, we have, I'm just kidding. That is like saying, tô brincando, or estou só brincando. In Portuguese, it means you're joking. You are not serious about what you just said. You usually say this right after you make a joke, so people know you are not being serious or unkind.
Break the ice, a lovely one. In Portuguese, it's similar. Quebrar o gelo. This means to start a conversation, especially in a situation where people don't know each other well and maybe feel a bit shy or awkward. You say or do something to make people feel more relaxed and start talking. You break the ice.
Hit the nail on the head, a curious image in Portuguese. Acertar en cheio, or acertar na mosca. This means you said something exactly right, perfectly accurate. You identify the problem or the solution precisely. You hit the nail right on its head.
Get on someone's nerves. Oh dear. In Portuguese, me tira do sério, or me dá nos nervos. This is when someone or something they do annoys you a lot, irritates you. Their actions bother you and make you feel impatient or angry.
See eye to eye. In Portuguese, ver da mesma forma, or concordar plenamente. It means you agree with someone completely. You have the same opinion or perspective on a particular matter. You see things the same way.
Spill the beans.
Careful now. In Portuguese, dar como a língua nos dentes, or contar o segredo. This means you reveal a secret, often by accident, or carelessly. You weren't supposed to tell, but you did. You spilled the beans.
Keep the ball rolling. Portuguese, dar o pontapé inicial, or começar. This means to start something, to begin an activity or a project, especially one that involves a group of people. You get things moving.
I have a lot on my plate. Oh, I often feel like this in Portuguese. Estou cheio de coisas, or ter muito que fazer. This means you are very busy. You have many tasks, responsibilities, or problems to deal with at the same time. Your plate is full. And finally on this list, pull someone's leg. In Portuguese, tô te zoando, or enganar de brincadeira. This means to joke with someone, usually by telling them something that isn't true, in a playful, teasing way, just for fun. You say it after they believe you, perhaps. I was just pulling your leg.
These are so interesting, aren't they? They make the language colorful. Now, let's look at the rules, the structure of our language, grammar.
Yes, the rules that help us build correct sentences and understand each other clearly. Today, or rather in that class, they learned about 2 verb tenses, or reviewed them, simple past and present perfect. These often cause difficulty.
Yes, they do. In simple past, we change the form of the action word, the verb, to talk about actions that finished. At a specific time in the past, like yesterday or last week, for example, do becomes did, make becomes made, drive becomes drove, record becomes recorded, meet becomes met, come becomes came, have becomes had, pick up becomes picked, help becomes helped, wear becomes wore, and sing becomes sang. These are irregular ones mostly. Regular ones just add "ed."
Some example questions using the simple past. Remember, the action is finished. What time did you have lunch today? Lunch is finished. Did you exercise today? Maybe you did, maybe you didn't, but the time for it today might be finished. What time did you wake up today? Waking up is finished. And did you clean your teeth? Hopefully, yes, and that action is finished. Notice we use the auxiliary verb did for questions and negatives in the simple past. And the main verb goes back to its base form after did. Did you have lunch? Not, did you have lunch?
Now, present perfect. This is different. We often use this for actions in the past, but we don't say exactly when. The time is not specified or not important, or sometimes the action has a connection to the present time, or it happened in a period that continues up to now, like today, if it's still today. We form it using have or has, plus another form of the action word called the past participle, like done, made, driven, recorded, met, come, had, picked, helped, worn, sung. For example, have you ever kissed a man? Ever means at any time in your life up to now. The exact time isn't asked. The short answer can be, no, I have not. Or the contraction, no, I haven't. Other examples, have you visited NYC at any time in your life? And time, have you worn a miniskirt? Ever. And have you sung a song in the theater in your life experience? Again, the short answer is often, no, I have not, or no, I haven't if the answer is no, or yes, I have if yes.
Students sometimes make mistakes here. It's common at the A2 level. They might confuse the tenses. For example, saying, I go to the park yesterday. That uses the present tense go for a finished past action. That is not right. It should be simple past. I went to the park yesterday. Another mistake. Using did with the past form of the verb in questions like, did you went? No, that's wrong. It should be, did you go? Use the base form after did with present perfect. Sometimes they forget to use have or has, or they use the simple past form instead of the past participle. For example, saying I have went instead of I have gone. It takes practice, lots of practice, to get these two tenses right.
Now, we come to the section on reading. Oh, I always enjoy the reading part, sharing a story.
Sadly, it seems the actual text the students read, the specific story or article, is not included here in our notes for today.
That is a shame, a real pity. But if we had the text, I would read it with great enthusiasm. You know I would. Let's pretend. Let's imagine. Maybe it was a simple story about our friend Luigi, the pizza shop owner from the theme. Perhaps he is trying some new ideas to get more customers for his struggling business. Maybe the story was about how he offered a special discount, a special price, for lunchtime pizzas.
A special lunch price. Well, maybe some new people would come for that.
Yeah.
Yes. But, people often like what they're used to. They like things the way they are. Familiarity. Luigi might be better off, in my opinion. Just focusing on making his regular pizzas, the ones people already know and like, keep the quality high.
No, but you always like things to stay the same, don't you? A bit traditional. I think new ideas are fun. They bring excitement. A special offer could bring in many new people who haven't tried his pizza before. It could work wonderfully.
Perhaps. But one must be careful. Big changes, radical changes, can sometimes cause unexpected problems. You might lose your old customers while trying to get new ones.
Oh, but sometimes you simply need to try new things, to take a small risk, to get good results. You can't just stand still if things are not working well.
A fair point. A very fair point indeed. Even without this specific reading text, we could discuss the possibilities. Now, let us talk about writing, putting thoughts down on paper.
Yes, this is where students get to practice making their own sentences, their own stories. For this activity, related to Luigi's Pizza, they watched part of a video about Luigi's restaurant. Apparently, he was having some trouble paying his rent, a common problem for small businesses. Their task was to imagine what happens next and write a dialogue, a conversation between Luigi and other people.
All right, let's suggest some simple possibilities for each student, using words they learned. For Tiago, let's imagine Luigi talks to a loyal customer, a regular. Maybe this customer makes Luigi a kind business offer, perhaps to help with the work supply. Maybe the customer owns a shop that sells flour or tomatoes and offers Luigi a discount to help him out.
That's a nice idea. For Mario, maybe Luigi talks to his daughter, his teenage daughter, perhaps. They decide they have a mission to create new content for online videos. Short videos showing how delicious the pizza looks, or Luigi talking about his passion to attract more people online.
For Douglas, perhaps Luigi tries to avoid his nosy landlord. The landlord keeps asking about the rent money, making Luigi anxious. Maybe Luigi has a conversation with a friend downtown about his worries and asks for advice.
And for Reynaldo, let's imagine Luigi meets the owner of a rival pizza shop nearby, another pizza place. And surprisingly, this rival owner makes Luigi a proposal. Maybe a proposal to work together on advertising, or perhaps even a proposal to buy Luigi's shop. That would be dramatic.
Interesting ideas. Simple scenarios using the vocabulary. Good practice for them. Now,
Huh.
we will skip the listening and speaking sections today, as our notes do not contain the details for those parts of the class.
But we do have the watching section to discuss briefly. It is so very important, I always tell students this, for people learning English to watch things in English, watch movies, watch the news, watch television series, or even just videos of real-life events in English-speaking countries. It helps you so much to hear how people really talk, natural speed, natural rhythm, and you learn about their culture too.
Quite right. And in this section of the class, the task was specific to the theme. The students had to watch that video segment about Luigi's pizza, the one where he's worried about rent. And their command was simply, note down any new words and expressions you learn while watching. So, watching actively, listening for new language, a very useful exercise.
Now, as we get closer to the end of our deep dive today, let's talk about how well our students are doing overall. Tiago, Mario, and Douglas. Thinking about them as a group, they are making good progress, I feel. They are learning a lot.
Yes, based on the work we see in these notes and our general assessment, they seem to understand about 60%, maybe a bit more, of the content needed to finish the A2 level properly. That is solid work. Steady progress towards the next level, B1.
I was thinking about the pronunciation section, comparing past and present. For the class before, they only had the word human, which is fairly straightforward, and I believe they managed it well. But for the current class, the new words were longer, more syllables, like cardiologist, and actually, it's possible, even likely, they had a little more trouble pronouncing those correctly on the first try. That's normal. But with practice, they will certainly improve.
The grammar point we discussed today, simple past versus present perfect. That is the cornerstone of the A2 level. Mastering that distinction is very important, and they encountered some very useful new vocabulary. Words like rehab, purpose, proposal, avoid, nosy. They're building their word bank steadily.
And next time, in their upcoming class, our students will be learning about, oh, this sounds useful, reading strategies, techniques and tips to help them understand English writing better, especially texts that might seem difficult at first. It will help them feel more confident when they read articles or books in English. And it makes me wonder, for you listening at home too, what are the best ways, what are the secrets to understand those difficult English texts? Well, that is a question that will be explored in our next deep dive. A little cliffhanger for you.
From the small words we learn in class, to the grand ideas we encounter in texts, and indeed in the world around us, understanding language, you see, is a bit like exploring the universe. Both require careful observation, making connections, seeking clarity. It reminds me sometimes of those great thinkers, scientists and philosophers, who look up at the stars and try to understand our place in the vast cosmos. This journey of learning is similar in its own way.
Oh, that's a beautiful thought. And in that very spirit, that spirit of connecting, of understanding not just words, but meaning. Here at Academia BSB, we hold a core belief, a guiding principle, and perhaps echoing those who ponder the universe, we can say.
It is not only about the language.
It is all about communication.